Welcome to Conversations with Reinforced Engineers podcast, India's first podcast for and by civil engineers. Join us on our journey to simplify and bring you experiences straight from the industry. This is your host Gokul G. Kumar along with co-hosts E.S. Krishnaram and Padmadeep Joshi. So let's jump right into it. Hello friends, welcome to the all new episode of Conversations with Reinforced Engineers podcast. We have a special guest for you today. Okay, before that, we love to get your feedbacks. So please share your thoughts and suggestions in the comment box below, or you can also do it through cwrepodcast@gmail.com or www.eskrishnaram.com. I'm your host Gokul G. Kumar, and we have architect Meghna Srivastava, the co-founder and managing partner, MAP Architects Bangalore. Hello, ma'am. Welcome to the episode.
Thank you for inviting me on this podcast, Gokul. It's my pleasure to be here.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us a chance to interact with you. I'll give a brief introduction first. Meghna ma'am has a very vast experience of around 22 years in the industry. Meghna ma'am completed her bachelor's in architecture from Sir J.J. College of Architecture, Mumbai. After that, she joined Somaya and Kalappa Architects Private Limited and worked there for 3 years as a trainee architect, where she handled design, documentation, and project coordination of multi-story residential projects. Then she joined Oberoi Realty as an architect, where she was intensely involved in design layout, perspective development, and coordination with various consultants. She worked there for 1 year. Then she joined Motec Softwares, a Reliance Industry group of company, where she got opportunity to upgrade the software skills being an architect. Then she got an opportunity to join Jurong International, where she successfully executed commercial buildings and interior designing of banks. She joined RSP Design Consultants India Private Limited as an associate architect, where she managed a team of architects and gained design expertise in the development of IT business parks, integrated malls, multiplex, and hotels. In between, she also completed her MBA in General Management from IIM Bangalore. She is a director of Newark Design Consultant from around 10 years. In 2018 March, she started a new venture, MAP Architects India, and from 2 years, she, along with her team, is running this firm successfully. So it's a big list. So, audience, here you are getting a complete package. She's an architect, she has a long experience in the industry, she is also an entrepreneur. So, we can also call her an entrepreneur.
Thank you, Gokul. That was a wonderful introduction.
So, let's don't waste our time and we'll start our conversation. Ma'am, COVID-19 pandemic had made its impact in almost every nook and corner of our living. So, due to lockdown, work from home had become a regime. So, what are your learnings about managing your office from home and how was it different? How much it was challenging for you, ma'am?
I'll start by saying that this COVID has really taken a toll on our lives. As the cities have started reopening, Gokul, and there has been easing of this lockdown by the government, everybody is adapting to new realities. We are all working towards a new normal. And as you see, architects all over the world are also putting their best foot forward to create innovative solutions. And these could range from foldable bed systems for corona patients. It could be new facility design for office goers, or it could be labor sheds for construction workers who have got back to site. So when it comes to manage their own offices, architects definitely have had a struggle. Few of them have even decided to shut down their small and mid-sized practices. Rather, I would say this is what has come to my notice. But a large number of them have sustained. There has been a large amount of layoffs from the larger established firms. But at the same time, the motivation for the designer community has always been high. So that's been my understanding of how the practices are doing in the current COVID phase of our lives. By God's grace, I would say MAP has been able to sustain the business and maintain the same number. Rather, we increased a few number of team members this month. We have been discovering unique ways of collaborating online, keeping our focus on transparency across all the stakeholders involved in the project, and thereby leading to an efficient project delivery. So I think these two main focus have allowed us to sustain this difficult time.
Ma'am, you said about a lot of changes that took place in your firm during this COVID period. What is your opinion for shifting of professional space going online? Is it good or bad? Because it has a lot of advantage as well as disadvantage. We know that employees are the asset for every company. So when they come together to achieve a common organizational goal, it becomes complete. And like as a owner or as a person managing that, we can monitor, we can guide them, we can control them. But now the situation is totally different. What's your take on that?
Work from home or this online way of working has its own perks, according to me, as it allows you to have a good work-life balance. We are not losing time commuting across cities, and we thereby are able to contribute few more hours to our projects and to our office-related works. I also believe that there is a focused discussion which is now possible with the team. There are team members in MAP sitting across different cities, and we are able to huddle up quickly over these online platforms, which now enable us to get us online quickly. We even chart out our plan for the day early morning, and we continue to deliver across the entire day to ensure that our deliverables are taken care of, and we are all on the same page. So I would give a large amount of credit to a lot of online platforms which have enabled for all of us to collaborate and work online. But I also feel that a personal interaction, a small amount of brainstorming session which we have one to one, has its own advantage. And it also creates a different level of challenge when we are face to face with each other in the office. So, therefore, MAP has recommended that we do at least a day's overlap in the office. It could be for different teams. It could be sometimes interior team members sitting together, sometimes architecture, landscaping team sitting together. But we definitely encourage one day of overlap with your own team so that you don't lose the touch of personal interaction. And of course, the online tools are always there. We are just a call away, or probably we are able to do an interface very quickly at a 10 minutes or 15 minutes notice to the team.
You have implemented a lot of measures to tackle the situation. But ma'am, due to this lockdown, you would have implemented measures to experience the site virtually due to the situations. But is it sufficient to experience the site of the project virtually? And how was working virtually aided or impeded the proceedings in the field as tactile as architecture?
Yes, very, very important question, Gokul, you're asking here. Sites can be monitored through a couple of video calls, and that's what we tried in the initial phase of the pandemic. We felt that few minor issues on the site were managed online, and we were able to give them solutions. But to have deeper understanding of few design elements or certain details which were to be executed at site, we very quickly got the architects to start moving around, and we encouraged that they did visit the nearby site, not across the city. Whoever was nearby was allowed to visit their site, and with all necessary precautions of masks and gloves, etc. We definitely bought all the site coordination meetings online on our e-meeting platforms, but we definitely couldn't get away with the site inspections or supervisions, which are part and parcel of our architectural design delivery.
And that's nice because even with this situation, you were able to implement all the safety things and all. It's good, yeah. Ma'am, due to this COVID, how much your site work, labors, and cash flow of existing site got affected?
Well, site works did slow down during the early stages, I would say, but currently a lot of sites are active across the cities and across various areas where the projects are going on. Of course, cash flows have been extremely unpredictable, I must say. For many clients, we only see some amount of stabilizing happening in last few months, but it's been extremely unpredictable before that. We also felt that some projects were abruptly halted by the client, saying that they either were running out of funds or they didn't know if a particular facility was required in the near future. And some of them even came back to say that how MAP would refurbish a particular space or reorient the complete design program in favor in to favor a certain kind of industry which could be coming up in the near future. So there were a lot of shifts and changes requested by the client, and a lot of probability analysis was done internally to ensure that there was a return on investment for every client who was investing in real estate.
Ma'am, what does the future of well-designed workspace, public spaces, institutions, and homes look like when air circulation is a primary design consideration to prevent the spread of such pandemic?
Our intimate spaces are bound to change as we move to the next phase of pandemic, I would say. We are working on a new configuration, on new approaches for homes, for offices. And since the large occupancy is our residences itself, the quality and comfort of our homes is extremely important. Our needs at home have drastically changed now, as small and compact homes are unable to provide the privacy every person would require at home. So there is a couple who is managing work, there are kids who are doing tuitions or lectures online, and there is also a surge of a digital wave that is running in our residences. Each of us are on laptops and gadgets, and everybody seems to be catering to these educational and professional needs. But at the same time, we also felt that there is a large amount of noise-proof space which needs to be created. A well-ventilated room are essential at the same time for us to be spending so many hours in these confined spaces. So end of the day, in terms of residential areas, I feel any kind of green area, garden, your workout area, your naturally lit and ventilated balconies, terraces are a complete boons which we earlier ignored. And most of them are becoming the essential part of our lives as we want to take that break from our digitized world into the outdoors. So a small treadmill is becoming part of our lives, or a yoga mat, so these
True,
are
true.
some things we are adding up
Yeah.
and are very essential. At the same time, in workspaces and institutions, I feel most of them have moved online, and public spaces are being avoided as of now, although malls are opening up. But I think people are continuing to avoid them. Future space planning will definitely demand creation of these areas with enough sanitization facilities. So even if we are going to the malls or places like this, a complete, like how you would have a AHU unit to a commercial building, now there will be a sanitization unit, a room provided with all of these necessary gadgets, or I would say equipments to sanitize a particular space. More of a larger and more spread out classroom or cabins. There will be a lot of reduction in occupancy, or there will be increase in a footprint based on the requirement. So for example, if earlier the classrooms were for 30 students, now these would not be rooms of 500 to 600 square feet. They would be doubling up because you may want to cater to the same number of students but spread them across the classroom. So a lot of back and forth will happen. On the contrary, some spaces might really be shrunk, and people would look at overlap alternately coming there. Like offices, they would look at overlap of staff across the week. So earlier the office would be for 100 people, would now be designed for 30, for instance, knowing that they would show up only 2 days a week or something of that sort. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, yes, ma'am. These things have to be taken care of, especially in this COVID situation.
True.
Due to this COVID, the idea of community living will be lost, and each activity might require a separate space for it. So, how COVID strongly reinforced the need of despecialization?
When we talk about despecialization, this is something which has to be addressed after we have all been hit through this COVID phase. We definitely know that a lot of spaces are not utilized well now. You don't have the pools accessible in most of the campuses, and a lot of private homes are looking at some kind of a lap pool which they are used to having for their family, and they would want to have those kind of amenities added up to their personal space. So people will look at many such spaces which they publicly cannot be part of, and that would change the way we plan in future.
Yes. Ma'am, due to the pandemic, the whole supply chain got disrupted. The materials, even most of the laborers migrated to their home places. So, as a positive side of it, did it help in promoting or finding locally available material and workforces?
Yes, local workforce was definitely in more demand due to COVID, and we felt that migrants had left very early in the months of January and February itself, and we felt that there was this immediate requirement for the local workforce to get active. But I think slowly and steadily the migrants have also moved back. Some of them felt that they were better off in their hometowns, and it's been a mixed overview which we've had from these developers, where they said that some of them were happy to be back home, and they decided to start doing some development in the rural areas, which also was a boon in disguise, is what I would say. Uh, Coming back to local materials are something we ensure that we used in our projects at MAP. I think this has got nothing to do with pandemic. It was the norm even before COVID, and it will not only increase the sustainability quotient of a project, but also the labor would know how to deal with it in a particular site. So, for example, red oxide flooring has its origin from the southern part of our country, and we still feel that it's dealt with beautifully by the laborers out there. So, I think it is, we've had advantage of the local talent being noticed, and getting them to do what they are good at. Personally, I feel there is no two ways about the materials being used in the industry. Everybody has to be aware and make sure that we build these eco-friendly uh, setups in our construction model.
True, ma'am, true. Ma'am, since the pandemic, what are your client queries? Are they willing to complete the project as it was planned, or waiting to reduce on budget, or they are putting the project on hold for a while? What were their response and reaction?
Um, Clients in the current market are definitely willing to refurbish their existing premises, be it their homes or offices. They want to build a bigger home for themselves. They are willing to convert their offices to something else. They are asking us to concentrate on commercial projects and see if there's a project viability to have a hotel project instead of a hospital or a multi-utility business center. So the clients are coming up with variety of requirements where they want us to evaluate a particular structural grid, for instance, and see what all it can accommodate. In fact, in some of the projects, we are actually designing a multi-utility structural grid where in the 6 months of the foundations and a certain civil form comes above the ground, we know for sure that yes, this should be the way forward for this particular building type. So we are doing some kind of a neutral design solution for them for the next 6 months, so that they are not lost, or they are not left high and dry in terms of what this building would be utilized for in future.
Yes, ma'am, these are very good strategies to keep them together, bonded with you.
Right.
Ma'am, we know that most of the big projects got halted because of the coronavirus. But are the projects on the micro level also got affected, like simple residential buildings?
I wouldn't say so. The simple residential buildings, especially for Bangalore, where we are headquartered, were always in demand, and they still are. In fact, we felt a little bit of rise in those kind of projects because people who were stuck in their apartments and were not able to cope up with the distancing that they wanted to maintain in the common lobby areas or corridors, felt that it would be wise to be on their own land parcel and have their own little cocoon home there. So I felt that people who could afford very quickly moved to these villa setups and were happy to build if they had a land in their possession already. I would also like to add that there was some inhibition in terms of managing labor or controlling cost, because all said and done, the labor costs were on a rise. Even if we were having local labor willing to work, but they definitely have certain additional demands as compared to the migrants. And I felt the labor costs increase up to 10 to 15%. Even materials some of them which were not easily available were asking for those materials. People were paying up to 10 to 10% additional, and trying to source them in a certain quantity where the large surfaces or the large square feet of areas were to be covered by a single material. So those areas we had constrained. So the only inhibition that the clients had was that midway, if the labor doesn't show up or a certain material is not available, will it be difficult for me to complete the project once I start? So the guys who had already started their projects tried to, try to make it to get it complete sooner, but the people who had not yet dwelled into it had their inhibitions. We of course had to help them and make them understand the scenario and get them to get to the next stage. But yes, this is what was experienced like.
Yes. Ma'am, has the number of clients that contacted you declined, or is there some sort of pessimism in starting the construction of a new home?
Yes, a number of clients have, I wouldn't say have reduced, but a very serious clients is what we are coming across now. Earlier, we had a lot of inquiries. Our conversion rate used to be 60 to 70%, of which we used to feel that some of them were only trying to understand what can be done in future for the land that they had, or a lot of inquiry which was only to derive at budgets and things like that. But now what we are seeing is that if somebody is engaging us on these discussions, he is pretty much converting it to a reality project. And although the numbers are few, but they are serious clients, because I think people value each other's time, and they believe that with fewer professionals still dedicatedly working towards delivering, they really respect that, and they want to ensure that we don't waste each other's time and do some serious business. So that's been our experience in the last few months. Your second part of the question was, is there some kind of pessimism? Yeah, I think, as I told you in the previous discussion also, that there is pessimism, but you have to only get your customer to be aware of the problems that might come by, but at the same time, how to deal with them. And I think that kind of confidence we are able to provide to our customer at a very early stage. And we've spent a lot of time in the construction industry now, so we know how to go about it. It's been tough, but we are definitely able to handhold really well at this stage.
Ma'am, what are your thoughts on scope for home remodeling and repair going forward, as more and more people might opt for it instead of a new home?
Transforming your premises is been the part and parcel of everybody's life. In fact, I was myself doing up my residence and my office building in the early stage, where we felt sitting at home was turning out to be extremely difficult. And as architects, started modeling our own space. I'm sure you would have heard of this story where a set of painters were stuck in a school and they ended up painting it up,
Yes.
in a short time. So I
Yes.
think we felt a similar scenario. We locked ourselves on one of our floors of our building, and the other two floors we renovated. So with all the precautions necessary. So I always believe that just when times are tough, we tend to do things a little more smarter. And that's what happened. A lot of clients came to us asking for converting their entire building block, which was originally only a large residence. And Bangalore offers a lot of these multi-story independent villas everybody has, right? And a lot of times those floors are either rented out or they're lying empty for them. So they came back to us to convert a complete floor as office for themselves, or sometimes they were also looking at opportunity of converting a whole rooftop into an amenity area where they could have gym and meditation and things like that. So a lot of refinement was happening in personal spaces. In office interiors, we felt that a lot of restructuring, replacement of furniture layouts happened. We were trying to give them social distancing guidelines, and planning their curriculum, planning their structure for how the staff should show up and how they should manage in the space available. So these are something we were doing in the office areas. In hotels, we felt that a lot of people started demanding co-working scenarios. They didn't want to run hotel as hotel, but as a space where somebody could come and stay for a longer duration of 3 to 6 months. And being confined in that space, he should feel secured. So Instead of jumping hotels and rooms here and there, people were happy to use it like a service apartment model. So these are some refinements we were doing for various clients, and I think in our own ways we tried supporting the client other than just designing and detailing construction drawings. I think you have to also understand every investment that the client is making in every project and work very closely with them to ensure there are profits and there are returns on everything that he's investing his time and money on.
Ma'am, what would you like to tell the young architects who is hearing this podcast, who are starting out currently, and the ones who have just built some practice?
I understand that there is a lot of pessimism in the air, but architects, or rather the AEC professionals, have always been known for their dreaming and ideating. So I would like to say that it is essential that we stay focused on our job or the projects that we are contributing to, and utilize this time to delve into detailing and creating the small masterpieces which we can be proud of in future. And if there is going to be if they are going through a tough phase in their career, I would also say that they should focus on studying and upgrading their skill, because this is just the right time. We all know that this too shall pass, and we will have a better future for all of us, all of the professionals to grow and thrive. But it will be also very important that we utilize this time well, try and create a collaborative environment. Gokul, I want to really stress upon this point that as an industry, it's extremely important for all of us to come together, be it the professional services and engineers, or there's this huge BIM industry which is in place. We are too many people. There are project managers, there are contracting agencies who are doing quantity surveys, who are doing quality analysis, QS, estimations. There are so many aspects of our work that we deal with on day-to-day basis. But I feel that through these collaborative platforms, we should take this opportunity, try to engage in a dialogue with all of these professionals and understand each other's work, because it's very easy to say that, well, I contribute the most and the others are probably not contributing enough to the space. But it's only when you understand the other professionals space is when you are able to design and collaborate and create this masterpiece that will shine. So take this time. I would say that uh, don't have pessimism bring you down. It is always a better future for all of us tomorrow. To add to this discussion, Gokul, I want the fellow professionals from the architecture, engineering, or the AC industry per se to do few analysis themselves. I know that this pandemic has given us some extra time, and we should utilize this well. So I think this remodeling exercise is very, very critical to this phase, and everybody should consider how they would like to transform a particular space. If it was an office grid, then how you would put a hospital together, or a hotel together in the similar grid, or is there some magical grid that we can design within which you can accommodate many such alternatives of construction. So it's a question, or rather it's a small exercise I feel the students should take up, or the professionals should take up at this stage. So Gokul,
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Gokul, I wanted to ask you a couple of questions, because now you have come into the industry, and I understand that you've just finished your management courses and you're stepping into the industry. So what is the feeling that you have? It is just the wrong timing? You feel that, oh God, we are getting into our offices with the professionals, and we'll even get to interact with them soon, right?
Ma'am, the problem is, I'll tell you my story. I got placed from the college in last year, August, and I was about to get my joining in May, and now it's October, ma'am. And even what profile I have got is something different what they have offered at the time of placement. So for me, it was a little bit disappointing as a beginner. Like I would have started my job in May, then after that, June, July, August, September, then it's October. So this is a negative side of that. But on the positive side, I got to learn about many things. I explored many things. I read a lot. Then I got an opportunity to start a podcast with two of my friends. So these are all things which, if there was no lockdown or no such situation, never this thing has happened. So I think, like, yeah, it's okay. Good things have also happened. Some bad things also happened, but it's neutral for me now.
Nice. So best of luck.
So I got an opportunity to even to interact with you because of this only.
Nice. So I would say that yes, good that you're getting to the job soon, because there are a lot of professionals who I know for sure are not going to be having the opportunity to interact with their office staff for a few more months. Some of them have really lost their jobs, and they have been told that let's connect next year and see if we are on the same level playing ground, and if we are still willing.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's been tough for a lot of professionals, but I'm glad for you that you've been able to. In fact, I want to share one such incident where we interviewed a couple of architects and we really wanted to have them on board. And we kept telling them that
Mhm.
you be where you are, you just, you just work with us. And they were so I mean, they were
Mhm.
so worried that how will they not meet us all and still work. So they kept pleading that allow us to be in the office for just a month so that we get to understand the systems and the people here and things like that. So it's a very mixed opinion. Whereas some of them came back to say that, ma'am, we are very happy to work with MAP, but our parents are not
Mhm.
able to move around. So a lot of mixed feeling. And it was quite hilarious. All of these interviews, which we were conducting online, it was very difficult to gauge if this is the right member for our team and how we're going to work together with him. It's just a very new way of running the office. But again, I also want to tell people in the industry is that you think about a particular thing and it is being done online. You think about how to convert your day-to-day man-hour calculation of every person on different projects, and it's instantly available online. So, and there are tons of apps which are doing that. So indulge in those, and let technology do a lot of work for you, because it's going to be smart work against hard work in the near future. So if you don't know how your team is engaging, in fact, all of this online is also going to get the seniors to figure out ways to estimate the performance of their subordinates, right? Because we are all in our
Right.
corners of our homes. So that is where it will be essential for us to find out our ways, our own means to, of course, the apps and the softwares will come to your rescue, but still, you need to work on certain mechanism to understand the team performance and ensure the project deliveries are managed well. So these are some challenges which I think your generation is blessed with umpteen number of solutions. Your problem is
Mhm.
not having the solution. Your problem is shortlisting the best of the solutions available.
Exactly, exactly,
So
ma'am.
that's going to be good fun. So best of luck to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. So I think it was a very healthy discussion with Meghna ma'am. So we have discussed about managing office online. We talked about client reactions after the COVID-19 situation. We talked about despecialization and effect on the projects after the COVID-19 situation. So a lot of things. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. Our audience is really lucky to have you on board.
Thank you so much, Gokul, for having me on board. I'm glad I was able to give you necessary inputs out of my experience. I also want to congratulate you for this initiative, because it is going to help us to reach out to the professionals in the long run and get them to understand the paths that we have taken and how they can be benefited through our learnings. So thanks again for this opportunity. The pleasure is entirely mine.
So we call it a day today. Thank you and have a nice day. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of Conversations with Reinforced Engineers podcast. Hope you found value in the discussion and do tune in for next episodes. And in case if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast for updates on future episodes. Thank you once again and have a great day.